How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Kemal?
Good. So we have our new setting set up, and then a couple of the things didn't work properly, so we were running a little bit late.
Yeah, a little technical difficulty,
Right.
but we did get it set up, so I
Yeah.
think we're good to go now.
It's not a huge problem. So we have a RCM, revenue cycle management presentation. Shantai is going to join us, so I'm going to let him in and then have his presentation, and then after that we'll cover our regular topics. Alp, how are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you doing? Hey, Sean.
Good. We were running a little bit late, but everything is good now. So we have your RCM presentation today. I will let you actually share your screen so we can start with your presentation, and after that I'll have some questions for you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. So let me share my screen. Let me know if you can see it.
Yep.
All right, so hi everyone, my name is Alp Sente. I'm one of the client managers here at United Medical. Today I will be talking about the best practices for medical offices. So let's start with first, what are best practices and why do we need best practices, right? So best practices are written guidelines for medical offices developed by United Medical in order to improve workflows and efficiency for all aspects of a medical practice, as well as the communication between the medical offices that are our clients and us. So we need the best practices because we need the improved standards in every process. And that also comes along with improved communication and efficiency, as I already mentioned. So that's why at United Medical, we came up with these best practices, written standards to help improve the efficiency between United Medical and medical offices to help serve our clients better. So there are four types of functions in a medical office. These are 1, your check-in people, 2, your medical assistants, 3, your practice administrator, and finally 4, your checkout staff. And each of these have different functions that they do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. So we kind of broke this down with each role. So the first role is for the check-in staff. When we divided these into different categories, we divided it by when needed, what kind of function does this need, and what do they need to do. So for check-in staff, we have different responsibilities that they have. They have stuff to do a day before the visit, at the time of the visit. They have stuff that they need to do daily, every single day, and also as needed as well. Some examples for each of these are, for example, a day before the visit, we have our daily appointment reminders that go out automatically. So they need to confirm these daily appointments, and then they can call the patients who did not confirm through these automated call reminders. And then at the time of the visit, they have to make sure that the patient is checked in and all the demographic information has been updated and everything is up to date, everything is good. And they also need to collect and post copays and outstanding balances, so we're not dealing with these high patient balances later on. And then also daily, they need to check the office and clinical pool and inbox. They need to collect mail and deliver to the office manager. So duties like that. And then next, we have the medical assistant. So we usually advise our medical assistants to prepare the charts for the patients 2 days before the visit. And then they also need to check power chart and QuickBase, which we utilize a lot for open care gaps, and see if we can do anything for these before the patient actually comes for their office visit. And then as they receive, they need to take a look at the office pool messages and then communicate these with the providers and the patients to kind of be that bridge in between. And then they also need to be the TOC follow through as they receive these TOC from the hospitals, that the patients need to see the doctors after they got admitted to the hospitals. And then at the time of the visit, they have IQ health invitations, sign the patients up, and then record the vital signs, just like any MA does. And then daily, they need to be cleaning the exam rooms. They need to be doing the EPA work list, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot in this list. I'm not going to go through them one by one, but you guys get the gist of it. So number 3 is our practice administrator. So the practice administrator actually needs to be looking at the patient inquiries as they receive. If the patients are inquiring about a balance on their account, if for a no-show fee, for a cancellation fee, they need to be reviewing those. And then at the checkout, they need to be managing the patient surveys. And then daily, of course, they need to be always reviewing the office pool, the messages, the patient's charts, and then they need to open and sort mail as well daily, because these are usually time-sensitive documents that we receive in the mail. And then we also have first thing in the AM, when they first come into the office, they need to check the deposits as well. This is also a really important process that the practice administrators need to do. And they also have some other duties that they need to do weekly, bi-monthly, and as needed as well. And lastly, we have our checkout people. So at the time of the visit, they need to change the status to checkout so that information transfers from SPM to power chart so that the charges get entered. And then they need to collect super bills when applicable. And then they need to be completing the outstanding orders in tasks. These are all at the time of the visit. And then daily, they need to be answering and screening phone calls. They need to be checking power chart, inbox, and pools. They also need to be closing the PM systems, the SPMs batches for the practice workers. So these are some of the stuff that checkout people do. Well, this was an overall look. Again, I kind of flew through those slides, but as needed, we can pass these along to the clients for more information, and they can see all these little details in there for best practices. Now I'm going to talk about how the best practices tie into what we do in our department, the revenue cycle management department, because they all go hand in hand. So this is one of the reports that I work for one of our clients. We're looking at their daily appointments versus the charges. So if the check-in and check-out people are doing what they're supposed to do and the MAs are doing what they're supposed to do. So if every little function is doing this correctly, this report would be exactly identical. So you would see the patient, the charge would get entered the same day. There would be no late charge entries, and then everything would be caught up. But here we can see for this client, for the week of May 22nd, there's around 130 appointments that were not charged yet. So we don't really want to see that. That's why all these functions, they need to go hand in hand. And then this is also another report that we provide to our clients every end of month report and during our meetings. So this is showing the top check-in and check-out denials reports for the last 3 months. This is again for a real client. So these are real numbers. We're not disclosing the client, but we can see the denial origin for check-in or check-out or office admin related denials with the D codes that we use. So for example, in this case, we were able to see that in the last 3 months, there was a total of 930 denials entered, and 592 of these, which is equal to 64%, is coming from check-in related denials. And then 33.7% is coming due to checkout related denials. And then we also have a really, really small percentage is coming from the office admin related denials. We can also take a look at these numbers month by month. So for example, the checkout was at 135 total denials in March, then that went down to 116 in April, then that went down to 85 in the month of May. And then we have the same report with a little bit more explanation, but this is showing the total number. We can also divide these by months as well, but this also includes what kind of decode we use and the code's description as well. So at the top of our list here, we have a check-in related denial, which was at 320 denials for the last 3 months for this client, which is the incorrect missing insurance information for patient. So, and this is check-in related. Then, and the second one on our list is a D063, which is incorrect ID, relationship, date of birth. This is again check-in related. There was 89 of these, and the list keeps going on like this. So yeah, that was it from me. Thank you. I know you said you have some questions, I think.
So yes, now I guess what we need to understand is why we are actually sharing these and how this is actually helping. So in every business and everything actually in life, there has to be a checks and balance, right? So in order to have these checks and balance, you have to have an accountable, trackable, dependent and interdependent elements of the system in place, so then you can actually keep track of all these workflows that we created. So the reason we have the best practices we call, I mean, even if it doesn't capture everything that offices are doing, they have to stay in a system, because the way that you explain how they would actually have between the let me actually just play this video that we have. So like when we have when someone is responsible and they originated, when they need to originate it, when they do it, who should be checking that? These are all part of this big system that we have. And many businesses, they suffer from these system-related issues because they resist to the idea of adopting the system. So we work with our clients directly in real time. We use the same system. And what we want to make sure that it's clear to them and to us is that everything that's happening in their office is affecting us, and everything is happening, and every action that we are taking is affecting the client workflow and the outcome. And this can even go to a level of like patient experience, patient satisfaction, because every experience that patient has, it adds to the experience that they have. So that's why we build these job descriptions, best practices, and reports and denial codes, so that way we can have this interdependent system in place. And the teams of office versus United Medical in the RCM side, we can work together. Now, but your experience with the system is relatively new, because it's been almost 2 years, right? And then you start doing a lot of different things. Not everyone is doing as much as you do in this short amount of time. So you probably have a really good understanding of, like when I was actually working with you in the beginning, maybe it wasn't making perfect sense. Now we know that, okay, this is why it's happening, and then this is why it should be happening, because there's some redundancies that we have in place, right? So what do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually just going to say about that, because, I like analytics a lot as well. I was just in a call with one of our clients like a couple of hours ago, and we were going over the numbers, and we saw that the D022s really went up within the last month. So we were able to dig deep a little bit more, and then we were able to see that there was more like Highmark patients and Medicare patients that were the insurance information was being entered incorrectly. And when we presented that to the client, now they know when they're checking these patients in, they need to double check to see if they actually have Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, or if they have like Independence Blue Cross that's being entered incorrectly to the system. So they actually love that feedback as well, and that helps them, and at the same time us as well. So I think it's great. I love that system.
And not just from the RCM side. So I'm going to let Sean in, so because he's one of his responsibilities, he's with me on the case conferences on the clinical side. So then we have a pretty similar system for that as well.
Yeah.
So and it's also helping when we are able to share these with our employees, plus with the client. I think it's helping the overall efficiency. So that's why I do like having these sessions, and hopefully we can do better and improve more.
Yeah. I think as you mentioned right there, just with the clinical case conference that we have in the morning, you're seeing some patterns that develop. And as Alf mentioned too, the analytics behind it, not only are you understanding certain patterns, but then once you get so comfortable, you get to a point where you can actually predict in the future what we're actually going to see and kind of extrapolate some data. And that's actually where you get, at that level of comfort, that's where you get even more impactful. So,
all right. Well, Alp, thank you so much for joining. So I know you guys are busy, and then sometime I try to get into that busy schedule, and I know you probably have client meetings for the rest of the day. So thank you again.